Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Gary, and to all my loyal subscribers, if you're viewing this again, thank you very much. Please continue to help me to like and subscribe or share with your friends during this festive season. It will definitely help me or spur me to work harder for y'all, because actually generating content is really not easy. The amount of thought process, what new things to bring to the table instead of talking about the traditional stuff, as well as some analysis that I have to do, grabbing of information, so on and so forth. So thank you very much. Look forward to you having me to like and continue to subscribe. And for those that are new to this channel, okay, just to reiterate, I'm Gary. I've been doing this for the past 10 years. I'm a real estate agent in Singapore. I specialize in helping especially families to upgrade in terms of timeline planning, in terms of financial qualification, as well as see if you have seen my other videos on my channel after watching this. Okay, you can see that I talk about a lot of new projects. I think from there also I garner a lot of experience in terms of layout selection, unit selection, as well as what kind of premium we should be paying for certain property types. So feel free to reach out to me at 93881661 if you feel that this is the right time for you to start your property planning journey. It is not going to be a very short journey. It is always a long haul. I'll tell my clients. So I always, if you're doing upgrading, it's easily a 6 to 8 to 9 months kind of period that you have to see me. Okay, so without further ado, the most important thing is, if you're watching this right now, likely it's gonna be 新年快乐. I am from the year of the dragon, and henceforth this dragon is here. So in the year of the horse, I wish us 龙马精神. If you work with me, you'll get a long and a 马精神. Okay, and of course, wishing anyone that is changing their house this year, getting their new house this year, collecting keys soon, happy and blissful, and most importantly, this house will bring you a lot of what into your career, your life, and your family. Okay, let's go. Today I'm going to talk about most important, one of the 3 projects that I mentioned in my top 3 new projects to look at. Today I'm going to talk about the one at Tampines, which is going to be quite hype, I believe so, because Tampines itself is a very hype town already. Considering that it is one of the biggest HDB township, in fact the biggest, I think, HDB township in Singapore. It spans from, you have Tampines West, you have the matured or central Tampines area, and then it stretches all the way to the northern Tampines area. So literally quite a very big piece of estate in Singapore, and henceforth I think it is quite hype because other than Park Town, for example, last year, easily, even though it's 1,000+ unit, it is 80% sold until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the middle of the night. I think this actually signifies the demand in Tampines itself, and maybe the lack of choices of new projects. All the resale projects are gradually getting older and older. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about is Pinery Residence, and having mentioned that the HDB, right? Because I was thinking about what, you know, I always have to put cover photo, you know, this is a very typical, maybe traditional kind of presentation. So I always think of photos, right? But the first thing I think of, I try to find HDB. And in fact, I also did a search like, what kind of photo should I put for Tampines, right? You can see that actually a lot of HDB coming up lah. Basically, literally, I would think that Tampines is the OG of the OCR lah, especially for the east side people. You know, if you are born and raised in Tampines, or even if you are born and raised in Pasir Ris, you like to move to Tampines as a form of upgrade. In Bedok, you can't find a house, you're likely to fall back into Tampines also. Okay, so let's look at what I'm going to discuss today. Of course, I'm going to talk about the project information, that is as usual. And fortunately, we are gradually getting more information. Launch is likely to be in March period. As I get more information, there will be a part 2 to this series. Hopefully, no need to do until part 3 and part 4 lah. Part 2 should be enough already. Number 2, I'm going to talk about is the actual site and its vicinity, what is around that area. Okay, of course, I don't really stay in Tampines, but I have dealt with clients in Tampines, but of course, may not be the best as compared to people that literally stays in Tampines. Okay, number 3 is proof of concept. You know, most of my homeowners, very commonly, they'll ask, hey Gary, if I buy high now PSF, can I sell higher? So I have a bit of proof of concept in such a case. Okay, and then that proof of concept also leads on to my discussion about being in matured Tampines area. So I feel that Pinery itself is located in Tampines West, near Safra, near the Round Market, near some of the older HDB, bordering Bedok Reservoir. This is to me, the matured Tampines area, and this is very important, versus the new Tampines, we're talking about Tampines North area, near Parktown, near the new Cross Island line, near IKEA. That is a very different, I feel, ball game. Later you can see and decide for yourself. And number 5 is, proof of concept again. Pinery fulfills resale homeowners buying pattern. If you have been following me through last year when I'm talking about homeowners buying pattern, or rather a family unit, family nucleus, what do they like to look for, right? There are certain key points that are fortunately very close to what Pinery can fulfill, and later we'll discuss about this. And finally, of course, now I also have a bonus segment. Okay, so if you're an upgrader and you are caught in the market because your unit is going to MOP this year, next year, and the year after, and you're deciding whether you should take your one more chance to go for a new EC or buy into a new private in today's market, stay tuned, stay to the end. I'm sure you'll benefit from this. We're going to check it out. Okay, so let's go on to the first part, which is the project information. I shall not bore you all with too much. I'll just mention the generic stuff and like to talk about the more important things also. Okay, so developer obviously is Hoi Hub and Sunway. So they are very seasoned developers. They done 100 Palms, they done Continuum, they also done Key Residence at Brooksville, if I'm not wrong. And I would say that they are quite seasoned in the way they build the product and the layout choices. And because they do quite a number of ECs also, I would say that their style would be more towards family-oriented kind of condominium, which is very good because in the resale environment, when you're selling the upgraders, and this is what they are looking for. Okay, so if you look at the general description, it is a commercial plus residential plus connected to the MRT, if I'm not wrong, connected to the MRT station, and that is the Tampines West MRT station. There are 588 residential units available. Okay, if you look at the right side here, when we talk about Pinery, I like to draw into this example, this map first, because it is of course very near to, it's just downstairs lah, Tampines West MRT station. You have the Tampines Round Market near the Safra Tampines on the right side. You are within 1 km to St. Hilda's Primary School, which is a very important or popular primary school in the area. You are one stop to Tampines Central area, where you get the East-West line as well as the shopping malls, the 3 big shopping malls in Tampines. If you want to be more adventurous, you can go to Tampines East area, okay, and so on and so forth down the downtown station. And since I'm mentioning about MRT, later I'll conclude also that Tampines, I believe, is the only town in Singapore that has 4 MRT stations. Tampines West, Tampines East, Downtown, Tampines Downtown Station, Tampines East-West MRT Station. And to me, this signifies a very important deduction from the government's preference to invest 4 MRT stations literally in Tampines. I believe that they have foresight in their investment. They don't do infrastructure investment for no reasons, especially if there's no footfall or if there's no need for it. What more do you need an estate that has 4 MRT stations? Okay, coming back. So one very important thing about Pinery that I feel some people might be missing out is the balance of not just convenience, not just primary school, but also you're very near towards Bedok Reservoir. I believe it's 1 bus stop away. So likely to say that if you want a bit more lifestyle, you can actually go for a stroll, run down to Bedok Reservoir, or have some family time over there. And I think Pinery actually gives you such a nice rojak in terms of lifestyle as well as convenience. Okay, and I also want to draw out the bids received for this piece of GLS back about 1 year ago. You can see that there is 6 interests, okay, namely Hoi Hub, Sing Holdings, Sim Lian, Guaco Land, Soybuild, and Santari Realty. Okay, so I feel that generally speaking, as long as you have 5, 6, 7, 8 developers coming in, this piece of land should be highly sought after. That's number 1. Number 2 is also the bid price between the first and the second. It's not too far away because they can see certain close attributes, like I mentioned on the right side. Okay, so why does the land entry matters? Okay, this mixed use site is being acquired at $1,004 PSF PPR, and this reflects a controlled land cost for a prime MRT connected and with sort of like an integrated development without the bus interchange. configuration. And number two, of course, like I mentioned, is the narrow gap between the top bidders. And this also suggests that developers share a similar market expectation, pointing to realistic price assumptions. And number three, of course, is the relatively low land cost. I won't say the lowest, but generally low land costs give the developer a bit of flexibility in terms of the pricing. Especially, they also want to see what is the market sentiment in last month, this month, and next month's take-up rate. And finally, of course, I think is a lack of such a site in Tampines, especially in matured Tampines area. You don't really see any more free land within that matured Tampines area, except for the one that is right within smack at Tampines Central MRT station where the malls are, and the one on the left towards City Life as well as Trillion. That one is already designated, if not wrong, educational or hospital. So there's only one more piece of land left in mature Tampines area. And other than that, of course, is Pinery. And I believe why government want to sell Pinery first, because then they can also sell that piece of land that is in the middle of Tampines at a slightly higher premium because of its convenience. Okay, so this is the general project information that I discussed. Number two is the actual site and its vicinity. Okay, I like to draw two things in this discussion point. Okay, number one, of course, is like I mentioned in the previous video, that the URA ruling actually works fantastic, especially to create in terms of very livable, very widely spaced condominiums instead of the past whereby the condos or the blocks are closer to each other. And this is because of, number one, of course, is the maximum number of units is being controlled by dividing the total gross floor area by 85 square meters. Instead of the past, it was a smaller number. Now they increased to 85 square meters. And this is, of course, to reduce the constraint on infrastructure as well as overcrowding issues. And next, I think this is also a very interesting ruling that developer has to abide to, is minimum 20% of the units must have an internal area of at least 100 square meters. And maximum 20% of the units have a net area of 50 square meter or less. Okay, so this reduces the number of shoebox units and gradually increases the sizes of the livable or the family type units. And I think this is very good. This is a very good measure, I think, if you consider going into the resale market when you have too many one bedrooms or two bed one bath back then in the past, right? The transaction prices is always being diluted by those unit types because of the lower amount of demand, and owners have to sell at a slightly lower PSF. However, moving forward, you have less of such a unit type, more of the livable unit types, 2 bed, 2 bath, 2 plus study, or 3 bedroom, 4 bedrooms, right? This will ensure a bit of more consistency in the PSF growth through the different unit types as they enter into the resale market. And I believe this is a very strong feature in ensuring consistency in the prices in the resale market. And why I want to do this slide also, right? I believe because I don't have the site plan, so not yet. So what I can envision or what I can predict, I think, looking at the site like this, right, and then drawing a mirror to the HDB at the site, because these are very modern HDBs, so the 5 rooms, they are maybe slightly slanted to the side, right? I think developer likely to do the blocks maybe in this way, so that firstly, of course, the block to block distance must be observed, because, well, they can because they can only place maximum of 20% of the units that are less than 50 square meters, and there's a minimum number of units that has to be 100 square meter and above. So each block cannot have too many units anymore. So, and of course, the block to block distance has to be observed because the maximum number of units is also being controlled, right? So I believe they will do something like parallel to each other, and maybe facility tennis court on the awkward side of which I have drawn on the awkward side on the left side of the plot. And I think developer will do something like that, because largely if you mimic that to the HDB, right, this would be the north-south orientation, so on and so forth. So, but of course, in part 2, we are definitely going to talk about the site plan, the possible starting from prices, as well as the unit type discussion. So follow me for the part 2, maybe 2 to 3 weeks from now. Okay, so having mentioned this is my prediction for how the developer might likely to do the site plan, and of course linking to the requirements that they have met with the URA's ruling. Okay, next, I think more important, if you notice through my discussion here, I don't really want to talk about the HDB upgraders galore in Tampines, because that is what most of the salesperson would like to sell you. I feel like they'll tell you that, oh, Tampines got a lot of HDB, got a lot of new HDB, got the old HDB hitting $1 million. I think that is very generic. Yes, of course you have that, but most importantly is to have a bit of just a bit of deeper dive to see the proof of concept back then when, for example, Treasures at Tampines was launched, and it is 30% more expensive than the surrounding resale condo. Did it actually do well moving forward today or when it TOP? I guess that is the most important showcase of whether when you buy a higher PSF, can you sell at a higher PSF? Okay, so if you follow me through on my chart, this is generated from my company's app. By the way, this my company's app is amazing. We can draw out such examples. So this is what you get during the consultation, for sure, with me. Okay, we can draw out different resale condos trajectory. Then from there, we analyze the price trend. Is there any dip? What causes the dip? You click into that part, you can see the transactions that cause that dip, and you realize that, oh, maybe this is a loft unit, for example. I digress a bit. So I guess this is the kind of thing that you can get from my consultation and how we analyze together on the spot, so that at least from our consultation, we can shortlist 3 to 4 condominiums of the right framework, and then from there we can optimize our viewing, and instead of the traditional way of going to see condo by condo by condo, that is very time consuming. Okay, so this is what you can expect. Okay, anyway, coming back. So what I want to share with you firstly is that just now, as I mentioned, in 2019, when Treasure is being launched, okay, it is easily 30.2% higher than Trillion Tampines. Okay, you can see from the chart here, Trillion Tampines. Okay, when people can buy in at Trillion Tampines, 900 PSF versus you have to buy in at 1,200, 1,300 PSF at Treasures Tampines. Of course, the naysayers will say that, wow, the PSF 400 PSF gap difference, wow, jialat, confirm won't do well. And of course, on top of that, Treasures Tampines is a 2,000 unit condominium. Everything is so placed so close together. How am I going to sell at a higher price next time? So fast forward today, I think fortunately, I guess also because of certain government's measure, like, you know, like I mentioned, they inject HDB, they inject infrastructure, they make Tampines a more livable town, as well as near to different working nodes, and make people want to choose it as a choice of residents, right? And henceforth, Treasure also went up to from 1,300 to 1,900 PSF, while Trillion also went up to 1,600 PSF from its 900 plus to 1,000 PSF. I think what I'm trying to share here is that, be it you buy resale or you buy new, both also went up. That's a good thing. But of course, then depends on at that point of time, what is your objective? You know, some of them, they have the luxury to maybe move back home or rent a smaller unit. They don't mind waiting for the TOP and then gain from there onwards. And probably also spend lesser on renovation because they are collecting a brand new unit from developer with warranty, versus if you were to buy into Trillion as a second owner or a third owner, you have to do some renovation, or if you don't like the design, you end up spending more on renovation. And this is also post-COVID period, so you might expect some delay in the renovation. So there are some trade-off lah. So it really depends on your family's requirement. Whenever clients approach the topic with me, right, I'll share with them, you must look at what is the situation, then we can better advise what is the product for you. Okay, anyway, coming back, what I'm trying to say is that like I mentioned, noteworthy is that resale buyers at Trillion, okay, might have to pay more for renovation lah, especially now moving forward. It's already more than 10 years old. I believe even if developers product is very good, through the use of wear and tear, you have to redo the renovation. And I also brought on another condo which is just launched before Treasures in 2019 period or 2018 period, which is called the Tapestry. And interestingly, even though Treasure has a better trajectory at 45% growth, round up 45% growth, Tapestry only managed to gross at 37.4% growth. And I bring this up because I want to point out my next discussion point about being in a mature Tampines and new Tampines, the difference in the acceptance. Okay, and finally, of course, using last year's launch Parktown as a comparable, you also notice that Parktown has a history price gap repeating at 32% higher than Treasures. So on hindsight, I firmly believe that there will be a group of HDB upgraders or condo upgraders. Let's not forget about the 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom condo upgraders that want to look for a newer product, that wants to trade off their old condos, like say for example the Eden at Tampines, or maybe along Bedok Reservoir, Bay Waters, Aquarius. They want to trade it off and find something new, and they don't have the wait. They don't mind paying the premium to go for something new, like at Pinery. So let's not discount this group of resale buyers as well. And with this, I would say that the confidence level is definitely higher, or the probability of helping you to gain profits is definitely higher, because there is a proven track record that has done so at Treasures at Tampines as well as at Tapestry, even though it is at not so convenient location. Okay, so this is what I want to mention about on part point 3 about the proof of concept. And next one I want to talk about is a bit different from what I'm not so sure if any agents mentioned about it so far, but I want to talk about it, is being in mature Tampines versus new Tampines. The interesting thing about Tampines is that it's not like a town in Punggol, Fernview, you know, it started off and everyone grew with it over the past 15 to 20 years, right? Tampines has been OG town, and there are HDBs that are in close to their 40 or 45 years old, and then there are also in the newer zone, which is in the north area, that is just being demarcated and marked out, forest cleared in the past 5 to 10 years. So if we were to look at this, right, my take is, based on what I have researched, mature Tampines has a better track record than new Tampines in terms of profitability by PSF. So this profitability by PSF is a concept that I conceived when I was talking about it in top 3 resale condos. Why buyers are willing to pay, or why sellers can command a higher profitability by PSF, and that signifies a certain strong fundamentals that the condo is condoing to the buyers or to the sellers, and that's why they're willing to pay as easy as it is lah. So this is one of my framework that I put in to also signify, to give assurance to buyers lah. Yes, I'm paying top dollar, but then again, I'm not the only one that's paying this amount of money. There are 50 transactions and I'm averaging out the same, or I'm just gradually increasing my dollar per PSF, but everyone pays close to or same profitability by PSF. Okay, so if you look at new Tampines, for example, right, I draw examples between Q-Bay, Santorini, the Alps Arc at Tampines versus Trillion Tampines, City Life and Treasures. If I were to take two ECs to compare, especially ECs are already at 15 to 20% discount from the actual condos in the area when their land is sold, right? You notice that Arc at Tampines don't draw very good probability by PSF as compared to when you look at City Life. Easily they gross 100, 200, 200, 300, 300, whereas the highest that you can get at Arc at Tampines is 200. On average, they are all below, at the average of 100, and they are even below like 99 and 35. So I think this also signifies a bit of acceptance of a different area. And if I were to draw a comparison between Arc at Tampines and Trillion again, sadly you can see that Trillion at Tampines, most of them can be commanding at 200, 200, 200, 200, except also depends on certain layout at Trillion at Tampines lah. But what I can see so far is that Trillion at Tampines, in fact, if you follow through the other graph that I show you, right, it has very good consistent uptrend in terms of the pricing. Okay, and finally, of course, let's look at Santorini versus a private. Say for example, Santorini and Treasures at Tampines. You can see that Santorini, the PSF, the profitability by PSF is very low. Okay, they are in the range of 10s to 100s. That's the most. Don't really see a 200. Whereas you can see that at Tampines, Treasures at Tampines, easily they cross 100. There is also 200. There's also 300 depending on the unit type. 300 PSF increment depending on the unit type. So I guess this is a very interesting way to look at how buyers are more willing to pay or sellers can command a higher price. Okay, and finally, of course, if you were to look at even Q-Bay, it doesn't show as well as compared to treasures at Tampines, as I mentioned. So I feel that this showcase the mindset of buyers, especially if they were to grow up in Tampines. And so I would say that since Pinery is located at mature Tampines, I think this would draw a lot of assurance to most buyers, especially in the resale market, to choose it as the next choice because of the surrounding condo, example like City Life and Trillion getting a bit older. Okay, so this is my take on the mature Tampines versus new Tampines concept. Of course, if you have bought Parktown last year, rest assured, it should be fine. In fact, I didn't recommend my client to look at Parktown. I told them to look at Outlay instead during that last year's launch. So can't speak for people that have chosen Parktown, but for those that still have the opportunity, I think Pinery Residence at Tampines West would be a strong contender or a very good characteristic condo to consider strongly. Part 5, proof of concept. Pinery fulfills most resale homeowners buying pattern. So if you have been following me through my last few videos, especially the one where I talk about the migration of people from OCR to CCR, and people are looking for certain attributes in a condo, and why certain condos like Park Esta, Park Colonial, Jetscape, Park Clementes, they do well, right? It's also because of these few points. Number one, near the MRT, near MRT is a very common, near cheap amenities. As much as we want to upgrade to a different lifestyle, we also want to have our hawker food. We also want to be access to wet markets. This is the beautiful part about the Singapore lifestyle. Anyway, number 3 is being near the shopping mall in case for any last minute runs. Number 4, near primary school, which is a very common feature for family type or unit types. Number 5, HDB upgraders. Number 6, being good size in terms of the plot, 500 units or more. Okay, and of course, number 7, I think is being bonus near to any parks or playgrounds. And actually, if you notice, Pinery actually tick all the 7 boxes, basically. Definitely near MRT, is a downtown MRT station, works wonderful if you're working in CBD for sure. Cheap amenities, you have the Tampines Round Market, might not be super cheap, but then you get very authentic local food. Okay, near the shopping mall, just downstairs is a commercial space, should be 60 shop lots if I'm not wrong. Okay, near primary school, it is within 1 km to St. Hilda's Primary School, one of the top primary schools. If not, you have Yun Yuan Primary School, St. Anthony Primary School, not good at pronouncing. Tampines Primary School, as well as Red Sosika, which is within 1 to 2 kilometers. Okay, and it is quite a good size plot. As I mentioned, it's 588 units, and it is near to Bedok Reservoir. And how often do you get a mixed development that is near to a park as well? Okay, so I definitely think that Pinery sits on a very nice location. Definitely worth a discussion. So if you want to have a more in-depth discussion, especially a bit more deep dive comparing the condo prices in the area, right, feel free to reach out to me at 9388-1661. More than happy to help you on this. Okay, finally, as I mentioned, if you stayed with me through up to now, thank you very much. This is the bonus section bonus segment that I like to share with HDB upgraders, because if you cross my channel, as I mentioned earlier, I help a couple of families, and this is also where I derive my joy in my work, to help them to transit, and they're very happy. Like I did a completion today, HDB completion today, and my clients are super happy. They are excited that they can renovate their new house, their new private house, a 4-bedroom condo in Sengkang. And so it's the same. Yesterday I just closed my HDB, and the wife was like, yes, finally I can choose my ID for my condo. So I think this is little things that makes me feel excited about. Okay, anyway, coming back, this segment is talking about HDB upgraders. At this juncture, you can choose either you're a second timer to go for a new EC, or you can choose a private condominium. Okay, my take is this, simply, what if I told you buying a new condo is more than 300% less cash outlay than your new EC. That means to say that you come out less money as compared to your new EC. And why is this so? We have to look at the mechanism that is being involved in such a purchase. Okay, so if you look at the EC segment, even though EC is cheaper, generally speaking, they are on average Coastal Cabana 1.6 million for a 3-bedroom condominium versus a private on my left side here, which is $2 million that I'm going to describe to you. Okay, you can notice that the stamp duty is of course way cheaper. The question now is the issue with the maximum loan based on MSR at the ceiling cap, at the income ceiling cap of $16,000. At the income ceiling cap of $16,000, you can only borrow up to $1 million and $5,413. That's the most. Which means to say, on average, your down payment plus your stamp duty has to be $641,768. Yes, the bank is going to offer you a bridging loan as an upgrader because you don't have to sell your house now, you sell it later part. And on average, your value for your HDB should be around probably 300,000 or slightly more maybe. Which means to say your cash outlay, inclusive of your 5% booking fee, should be sitting around $340,000. Okay, and this is from your own saving because you haven't cashed out from your house yet, you only cash out later part. Okay, so this is one of the pain point. The second pain point, I think, is always the maximum loan qualified, because the issue with EC nowadays is that the price seems to be running a bit too fast compared to the income ceiling as well as the MSR configuration. So I'm not so sure what the government is going to do about this segment. But anyway, because of this, right, your cash outlay is 340,000 on average for 1.6 million, not mentioning if you are going to upgrade to a 4-bedroom at $2 million or $2.2 million, you can expect upwards of 400,000 probably. Versus if you buy a new condominium, okay, even though it is a $2 million purchase, stamp duty is $669,600. Your maximum loan at $2 million is $1.5 million at 75% loan to value ratio. Your down payment expected should be around $569,600. Because you sold your house, you will get back your CPF OA plus your accumulation over the X number of years, right? So far, on average, family balance sheet that I see should be around a 469,000 kind combined together. Okay, which means to say, you only probably need to come out around $100,000 as your booking fee for the new condo, or as your fee to buy your resale, for example. And if you compare with what you have to come up with for EC, right, this is easily 3.4 times lesser. And this 100,000 doesn't come, most importantly, it doesn't come from the saving that you set aside. For example, maybe you set aside 300,000 or 400,000. It doesn't wipe out your saving. It is from the sales proceed of the sale of your HDB. Okay, so on hindsight, if you ask me, if you want to have a better cash flow, if you want to have more liquidity, and if you don't want to wipe out your savings because you just want to do an upgrade and then you feel very strapped out in the next 6 to 8 months, right, then I think upgrading to a condo over here can be a very clear choice to you. But of course, more than happy, reach out to me, we can do this discussion, we'll run you through. Please don't bleed yourself dry. Anyway, Singaporeans won't do this. I'm very sure about it. Okay, coming back, so as I mentioned, your maximum loan based on your 16,000 income cap, which is the same as your consideration to buy EC, right, can go up to $1.7 million, which means to say that you're definitely within the amount that you have to borrow. Granted, of course, there are some downsides that we have to consider. Number one, where are you going to stay? You sell a house, you wait for the new condo, is there interim place? And then how do we match up with the rent if you don't want to move back to your parents' place? And finally, of course, taking $1.5 million loan and taking a $1 million loan, the repayment per month is higher also. So we have to factor that into your repayment per month as well. So there are certain moving mechanisms involved as well. So it's of course not 100% so linear, but just to showcase a bit of how you will have a bit more cash flow if you were to consider condo, especially because EC prices has been catching on to condo prices very closely, as not like when I bought my EC back in the past below around 800 to 900, not even 900, 800 PSF. Condos are around 1,000, 2,003 PSF. Okay, so this is the bonus segment. More than happy, feel free to reach out to me. If not, I'll leave you with this As I mentioned earlier, also this is a to be continued. There is a part 2. There is a reason also why government built 4 MRT stations within Tampines. It is a very strong housing node, and there is a lot of demand, and henceforth, if you're considering what projects to look at, I think Pinery will be a top choice for this year. If not, stay tuned, wait for my part 2, and I will see you very soon. Take care, Happy New Year again, 万事如意. Thank you everyone, see you again, bye bye.